Yeah, totally. And oh, I just lost my, um, oh, and I mean, and, you know, so there's the effect of people need to write research in order to get tenure and those types of
Mm.
things you're talking about. And then it's like, you realize that it's like the only things that get funding are the things that schools want to fund.
Which is
And
pretty trendy too.
which
I mean,
it's,
trendy is as science is as trendy as like English or something, you know, where it's
yeah,
like braided narrative is now in. Oh, now
yeah,
somatic now sematics are the thing that you do in the English department. You know, like
right.
it changes. I mean, science does the same thing. Like it just is kind of fad chasing.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the
Like
way it's
ours,
funded, not in the, you know, the discipline itself if it was followed, you know, scientifically.
yeah. It's like the powers that be decide what the perspective of the school is going to be. And then you identify somebody who will do research to back up that opinion. And then
Mhm.
you fund, or, you know, and I mean, and it's really also based on who are the people who are paying, who are giving money to the school, the big corporations. And that dictates what studies are funded and not. And
Well, and we tend to only research things that we already think we know the answer to in order to prove that. And then when it proves us wrong, we don't change. Like, I mean, evidence, exhibit A is the D.A.R.E program, right? Like
uh,
you have Nancy Reagan being like, we're on drugs, whatever. Instead of, you know, education or something that was, you know, kind of useful or funding or kind of meeting the needs of these communities, let's just go, you know, scare kids straight with D.A.R.E. And then they kind of tried to make D.A.R.E different later on. But whatever change they made, we researched D.A.R.E for a decade. It made kids do more drugs. If you took a school that
right.
didn't have a D.A.R.E program and then you did a D.A.R.E program, drug use went up. And
Yeah.
then you could compare that to, and like, there was no way around it. I mean, the
Yeah.
research said that, and they kept being like, "Oh, well, maybe we need to control for the." No, like the D.A.R.E program didn't work. It made kids do drugs. Did we quit doing the D.A.R.E program? No, like because we kept throwing more money at research to try and get the study to say that
Yeah.
actually it worked, and it just didn't
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
You
You
know,
get really disillusioned because it's like, then you learn that we know best practice for all these things, like in education, for example, and then you figure out, well, it's nobody who is a teacher or in education really gets to make the calls about what they study in schools. You know, it's
oh,
like
education is the worst for
little
the way
boy.
that research is used that like that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they'll come into education and they'll like every bit of data that we have going back to the beginning of research says even if the teacher is not good, even if the teacher is incompetent, if the classroom is smaller, the kids will do better. Just hire more teachers, pay
Mhm.
teachers. And that's never what they've done. All the research has
Right.
said that. It works 100 times. What they do is they go in and they're like, "Oh, well, Pearson Hall has this information technology, communications education platform, and
Yeah.
it's 2 points better than the one by Epson that's, you know, Plato, so we need to switch to the Blackboard program." Well, okay, you're talking about these incremental tiny gains for millions and millions and millions of dollars, where
Right.
you know that it's going to be 65% more effective if you just hire teachers and you don't have 35 kids in a classroom, you know?
Right.
But
Uh,
they're not doing research to figure out what works. They're doing research to figure out how to justify the payments to these giant corporations.
mhm.
And I mean, this isn't to knock on research. I mean, studying cause and effect is inherently helpful. We're talking about what the ethics outside of the study. And like in
Yeah.
graduate school, you learn, oh, the ethics of the study, all this, whatever. They're talking about inside the study. But the ethics of who funded it, how's it used, where's it coming from? We just turn our brains off and act like anything that comes out of these journals is magic. And I just, it's strange. I don't,
Yeah.
I mean, I like research for what it is, but it is what it is, you know?
Right. Right. Yeah. And I went through the whole application process for PhDs and PsyDs, which went fine. like, but it was just like the experience of that, where it's just like you have to look through the professors' research, like the professors who work in each individual program, look at what their research background is, and find someone who sounds like they might match up with what you want to study. So it's like you have to find somebody in the country who wants to study the same thing as you're interested in, which, by the way, there's nobody, as far for whatever it was that I was
Yeah.
like, yeah. So then it ends up that you tailor all of your applications to, okay, well, that guy has interested
Mhm.
in his bio, but I have to write a completely different essay saying I want to do this kind of research for this program. And
Well, and just the amount of abuse and corruption in those systems where people, I mean, just the idea that you have to work for free, I don't think is right. And then
right,
two, or not
right,
even work for free, you're paying to work.
right,
You're
right.
doing work for these guys. But then the amount of professors that, financially, sexually, I mean, there's just you see all this that system, the power is so lopsided
Mhm.
that even if it's not that everybody is bad, but it's just enabling the worst behavior.
Right,
Um, and
right.
and 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 the just the competitiveness of it, that you're never safe.